Hello everyone and welcome back to another edition of the live dugout. The T20 World Cup is very much underway, but of course since it's a non-India match day, we are going to be focusing and talking about some things taking place in the world of cricket, specifically Indian cricket. And well, before we get to today's topic, which of course we'll get to in a bit, big welcome back, Shashwat. Where have you been for all this?
Thank you so much. So I had a little mishap and I had to stay out.
That everyone knows. That
for quite a
everyone
long
knows.
time, and it was a pretty difficult time for me.
Talk about what you were doing when we were doing all the IPL
look,
coverage.
Thanks to you, Sports Today. I was always up to date, but I have just one complaint from you. You did not give Delhi Capitals the support they needed.
Exactly.
That's the only problem
they didn't
have. If I would have been here, I would have, I maybe sent those good vibes to the team. I did actually go to watch a game and try to give them all the positive vibes there. They ended up winning that game.
Which game was this?
This was the Delhi-Mumbai game. I was lucky enough to get the tickets for the stand where the wheelchair was allowed. So I had gone there with a friend and it was a pretty good experience. Things can be better, obviously, because there are not so many people who come there to watch a game on a wheelchair. But it was a really good experience for me. I had to go and support my team like every year. But here, if I would have been there, never maybe that extra positivity would have been given to the team and we would have made it to the top 4. I told you that we might finish in the top 4 spots.
But we didn't eventually.
Yeah, maybe I would have been here, things would have been different, you never know.
You're actually one win away if you think about it.
Yeah, just 2 points.
You were actually just, it was all about minimizing the margin of loss and maybe then also you would have been in. Look at it.
After the KKR game.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. I'm coming down to that match only. If you hadn't lost that match by 106 runs, then things would have been completely different because let's not forget you missed out on that place to RCB only on net run rate. Only on net run rate.
Yeah, but I still feel that
And had that been the thing, by the way, their net run rate equation would have also changed because then they would have had to overall, whatever Delhi's net run rate then would have been, the equation would have changed 18.3, who knows, it could have been something different from that.
But I was more disappointed when we lost to Rajasthan Royals in the first away game.
25 runs.
Yeah, the game where we got them
Anyway,
out
Shashwat,
cheaply,
this is not about IPL, it is done and dusted.
I understand this point.
Yeah, because I did not get the opportunity to be, I really wanted to be here and speak about the team and everything, but obviously that did not happen. But I think still that game was the one that hurts.
You felt that Delhi had the team to be in the top 4?
See, I'll be very honest, I don't think that Delhi had the team to be there. But again, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And also I feel complete teams, there were very few complete teams. Sunrisers Hyderabad did start the way they did start, but we eventually saw that it was only their openers who were firing. As soon as they didn't fire, then we saw what happened to them. So I think no team was complete, and in IPL I think that is a little difficult that you can have a full complete team who's
I disagree.
KKR.
No, to no extent. No. If your number 9 is Ramandeep Singh,
I think DC
No, your 9 was stuck.
Yeah. But your 9 was, your 8 was Ramandeep.
DC could have been complete had David Warner played the full tournament, had that injury
David Warner being the David Warner he
No,
is.
if David Warner was playing like David Warner, not the IPL David Warner, where he'll get 500 runs at 120 strike rate, terrible, horrible.
See, things really could have been different for Delhi had that Mitch Marsh injury not happened. Don't forget about that.
And if Hendrik Nokia had forgotten or remembered how to bowl.
Exactly.
Yeah, even I think that was also very big.
So those two misses were but there were a couple of blessings in disguise also for the Delhi Capital. Fraser McGurk is an injury replacement. Tristan Stubbs.
Salam.
Remember, Tristan Stubbs was
bowled well. I remember.
Later on, wouldn't have been playing if Harry Brook was a part of the squad.
Part of the squad, exactly.
Anyway, leave the IPL aside. T20 World Cup fever still very much on, and we're moving from the lovely pitches that we get during the IPL, and the topics move to what are the pitches in the T20 World Cup? What have we seen up until this point in time that we have been, and I've just been informed that my audio is gone. I think we need to get our mics checked. I think we need to get them a little bit checked. I mean, just see. Better now? No, it's not mute. It's not mute. Is it fine now?
You can share the mic.
Is it okay now? Okay. All right. Is this better? Okay. I hope to hell this works out. But any which way. Oh my God. Okay. Just give me a second, guys. Apologies.
Receiver.
Okay, this is.
Okay, just hold that.
Yeah, I think I'll just keep
No,
this.
just keep it in your pocket, maybe.
Pocket is the worst place to keep it.
Keep the antenna out.
Okay. Is it fine now? Wow.
Anyhow, coming back to it.
Coming back to, let's say, the issue at hand. Is my mic fine now? Thank God. Anyway, so coming back to the issue at hand, and we've been seeing this. I think all of us knew, let's be fair, heading into a T20 World Cup, USA, drop-in pitches, it was always going to be a little bit of a lottery. West Indies, we've always known for years now, the pitches have kind of veered towards the slower side. But now everything, even that we're seeing in New York, the Nassau County, cricket stadium, which is of course a pop-up stadium, don't forget. Pop-up stadium, drop-in pitches, not very good cricketing action so far. I mean, you're not getting traditional stereotypical T20 cricket. Nothing of the sort so far. Nothing of the sort.
Let's just go back to the one game that we saw very closely, the India-Bangladesh warm-up match. There were a couple of takeaways as far as the pitch is concerned. Yeah. There was a little bit of skid. The odd ball, in fact, very interesting. Just to take the conversation away from that match, we'll come back to it because I was reading about what the pitches in general have been like. Because see, all of it is mostly makeshift stuff over there in the US. You don't have the infrastructure for cricket per se. So I was reading about how, even when the Indian team has been practicing, the odd ball, even in the practice sessions, has stayed low. Yeah. Now, how often do you get to hear that? And especially for the spinners, I was reading about it, that Kuldeep Yadav, when he was bowling, and this goes back to, I think, Thursday, a day prior to Virat Kohli's arrival, that when the Indian team was practicing, the odd ball in the nets also stayed low. Now, what we saw, cut to what we saw at the Nassau County ground there on the 1st of June, we saw some variable bounce, I would say. We saw the odd ball did bounce a lot. Was there a lot of grip on the pitch? No. But a hint of spin was there. Yes. Just a hint of it was there. So, I do tend to agree with what one of the experts has said, that the bounce seemed a bit spongy. And we will come to that as well. We'll show you who's that expert that we're talking about. But in all, because going by what Rohit Sharma, Rahul Dravid said prior to that match, they've been pretty pleased with the conditions that they've seen in New York thus far.
Yeah, I think, Shashwat,
I still feel that New York, USA in general isn't going to be that big a concern for the Indian side, because you're not playing majority of your games there. The main Super 8s you're going to be playing in the Caribbean. Here, I think the spongy bounces there. I also felt that in the Bangladesh game, there was a little stickiness in the wicket. The ball was stopping a bit before going to the batsman, and I think that is also because of the reason that it's a drop-in wicket. Also, the outfield has not been that, it's been pretty slow. But I feel that India is just playing one big team in the USA, that is Pakistan. Yes. The main problem is going to be when you're going to go to the Caribbean. Because by the time you reach there, quite a few matches would be played over there. And then the conditions over there would be dictating how you will play against big teams like in Australia or in New Zealand whenever you play those games. So I think that is going to be a bigger challenge for the Indian team. I don't think USA conditions, however they are, India will be dominating the USA leg.
I think it takes me back to the comment that David Miller had given a couple of months back about the pitches that we can probably expect in the T20 World Cup, and I think he has been spot on, because he clearly warned that the pitches would be very low and slow, and pretty much has been the case in the Caribbean conditions or even in the USA conditions now. So I think from that perspective, you can probably say that IPL was not really that an ideal preparation for T20 World Cup because of the kind of wickets that we were getting or the kind of action that we were witnessing. But overall, I think it's probably going to be about how you can apply yourself as a batter and make sure that even if the pitches are really low and slow, and if it requires for you to just hang in there and get to a 50 or a 60 odd in about 40-45 balls, I think it could very well be a match winning knock. But then once again it might differ from match to match, and once we head to the Caribbean conditions when the Super 8 stage starts, I think the things could be very different. So yeah, with not just with respect to India but with respect to many other teams, it's probably going to be horses for courses. So expect many teams to shuffle around with their playing 11 not just because of the fact that someone is performing or someone is not performing. Someone can very well be dropped even if they are performing, only to accommodate a certain player who can be suitable for the conditions.
Yeah, and I mean, see, when you have to remember that when it comes to USA, with West Indies, we've always known. It's always been a case that, it does tend to be a little bit on the lower side, and now don't forget, it's summertime. So the pitchers, once they get a bit baked, they're going to get worn down. New York was always going to be the absolute step into the unknown.
Yeah.
And what we know so far is that the way the stadium looks and everything from inside has been praised. Rohit Sharma has said that, we really like how it comes across, the atmosphere will be good. But now question marks are beginning to form a little bit about the conditions, which is to be expected because again, a drop in pitch, it's actually been sent over from Adelaide, then it's been finalized and the touch-ups have been done in New York before of course being dropped in. There's also concerns about the ground. In fact, I think head coach Rahul Dravid had a few things to say about both the pitch as well as the ground, and we can show you that. Shivam, is that on screen as we speak? So Rahul Dravid said that the ground in New York is feeling a little bit soft, so I think the guys will feel that little on the hamstring and calves. So it's an area we have to ensure we are working around. I mean, that is one thing that is a bit of a concern because again, soft grounds, we know you tend to obviously put maximum force when you're running. It will actually, be something that they'll have to take care of. And then this way, also what he said is that you have to ensure that the guys are looking after themselves because the surface does feel a little bit heavy underneath, a little bit spongy. At times, but I thought we cope well. A little bit spongy. And this is, if he's saying this for the surface overall, you do know it's going to have some impact on the pitch, drop in or no drop in. Let's be very fair about this.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's about the spongy, comment that he has probably made. Would you probably get the same things in the Caribbean conditions also?
You might get it slower. You may very well get it slower in the Caribbean.
There's a lot of possibility that you would be getting slower wickets because firstly, again, it's hot over there. There would be a couple of games played already on those wickets by the time India reaches there. So I think as a whole of a question, will these conditions actually suit India? They might just suit India when we go to the to the Caribbean to play those games.
See, the only problem that then becomes is that it would have been the case, I would say, about a few years back, but right now your players don't play spin that well as they used to in the past, and players in this present team also were good players of spin until the last couple of years. I would say that the graph has really gone down when it comes to playing spin bowling. What makes up for it is the fact that you have quality spinners in your side, and that's where things could really make or break for the Indian team. It could, more than your pacers, perhaps be the spinners who end up being the trump card. Yes, there is somebody like a Jasprit Bumrah in the ranks this time around in the T20 World Cup, but if the surfaces are to remain slow, then spinners become your trump cards.
And that's the thing. I mean, it's not so much about at this point in time how well do you play spin, because we know this Indian team, if you're looking at the playing 11 right now, there's maybe only 2 or 3 players who give me some confidence when it comes to playing spin. That's it. Rest everyone else we have seen in the IPL, flattest of conditions, look like rabbits in the headlight when it comes to spin bowling. So the differential there will be the fact that you have 4 spinners and 4 quality spinners.
Just want to check, does Dubey make it to the 3 players?
Yes, he does. I know he's gotten dismissed a lot. But that does tend to happen. We saw it happen to Klaasen as well. That if you do tend to become very attacking towards one set of bowling, the chances are that your dismissals will increase as well.
No, but do you think that Shivam Dubey would be making it to the 11 all throughout the tournament?
Yes,
possible.
He has to.
It's possible.
But you know why? Because you only have 3 pacers. You know for a fact you're going to play 2. You'll keep one on the bench.
Third?
No. 3 proper pacers. 3 plus Hardik.
That also, I don't know how many. Even though I would want India to play 3 pacers in most matches, I don't think it's happening all the time.
All in all,
out and out pacers.
3 out and out pacers plus a Hardik.
Yeah, but I don't see that happening because you only have 3 out and out pacers. No. You have Siraj, Bumrah, and you have Arshdeep. That's it. One of them has to be benched, and that's the key call. Who then gets benched? Because you're going to be accommodating, if you're looking at it in terms of pace bowling, you'll have to accommodate both Hardik and Dubey. Hardik has never been a 4-over bowler, and whilst he is a better bowler than Dubey, you're not trusting Dubey to be a 4-over.
No, he became a 4-over bowler, na Hardik, after there was news that he's nursing an injury, he's hiding it. The next match he starts bowling at the death.
Yeah, he's not doing it all. I remember that game. The game came against CSK.
No, but if Dubey is playing, then Hardik and Dubey are going to be your fifth bowling options.
Correct.
Combined.
Possibly. And
Yeah.
I think the answer to your question here is that Dubey only gets to play because Jaiswal's exclusion is more or less confirmed.
Yeah.
That's why Dubey stands a good chance to be featured in the playing 11 consistently.
By the way, we made that point about, we had that conversation about the openers yesterday.
Yeah.
There's one point that we forgot to mention, and in fact I'd admit that maybe it should have come from me because I batted for Yashasvi Jaiswal. So did Siddharth, I remember, but we're forgetting, as you look out for more spinners in the side, you look for more bowling options. Yashasvi Jaiswal can be a handy leg spinner. Let's not forget about that.
How many times
The fact that,
Jaiswal
yes,
and Tilak Verma have bowled knowing that they can actually bowl.
The last
but
time I saw-
I'm just saying, if you're looking for somebody out there, well, you can, and it depends how much you've been training him for that.
The last time I saw him bowling in for India was in the Under-19 World Cup final.
No, he did bowl one or two games. I remember. Yes, in the Windies. Him and Tilak Verma both.
Tilak Verma to I remember.
Tilak Verma did bowl in the Asia Cup, if I'm not wrong. He bowled 4 overs, I think, in one of the games against Bangladesh.
Asia Cup,
Asian
game.
He did bowl in the Asia Cup.
Asia Cup.
Yeah.
He did play. So I think let's just shift to this comment from Mohammad Kaif, and then I have a question for all of you. That Mohammad Kaif says that, and this was I think the comment that he made before the T20 World Cup began. If pitches play the same in New York, batting will be tough. Okay, spongy bounce, slow and big outfield, movement of ball. Only batters with technique will score runs here. This is definitely not the idea.
I think his comments came after India's warm-up game against
Bangladesh. It was after.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So basically, just before the tournament,
it was ahead. Actually, you're right. It was ahead of the first game.
Yeah, it was ahead of the first game.
Given the time zones, if we're getting confused with the time zones, it actually was. You're technically right, ahead of the first match. But I do agree. I do agree. It doesn't quite feel like the IPL. Yes, of course, US and Canada will disagree with what we say here because we saw runs in that match. But otherwise, what we saw from that pitch, because the ball did bounce on Hardik, I remember a couple of times, and Hardik wasn't able to connect, even though he finished with a 40 of 23, which is good, but at a good strike rate. But in the final over, I remember when the pace was taken off the ball, he wasn't able to hit the ball.
Yes.
And see, that's the thing. I mean, you're getting a variety of pitches here, and it does take me back a little bit even to 2022. Because in 2022 and 2022, the differential there was another differential in the sense that you were playing a World Cup in Australia in October. Seasonally, that's not the time it starts. You normally start in November. So at that point, all bets were off. I remember certain pitches, the bounce was scary. Say Perth, India, South Africa. You were getting next level. And certain games, you were getting insane amounts of swing. Certain pitches were sluggish. So it was a real mix. You were getting everything. And I think you're going to get something similar here. Because again, USA, Canada, you've seen 190 odd was chased down. Then you look today, earlier this morning, Namibia versus, I think it was Oman. 109 in both innings, both teams got. It went to a super over. I mean, 109. You look at 109 and I'm sorry again, it seems like absurdity because we're just coming off an IPL in which Sunrisers Hyderabad scored 125 in 6 overs.
I was about to say that. I was exactly about to say that. You had teams score 80 runs, 100 runs in the first 6 overs.
And that's exactly why I asked this question earlier, that is Shivam Dubey a certainty for the whole tournament? Because I don't see that happening because of this. Again, I feel where Shivam Dubey, we have seen him perform. I'm not taking anything away from him. He should have been in the team or not. That's again a debatable issue. But again, where we have seen him perform are on those flat tracks. We have seen him rip apart bowling lineups. Here, is it going to be the same? Because him playing spin and actually taking on the attack, he's used to that true bounce as of now.
But to be fair, no, he was first half of IPL, he was scoring runs both home and away. And home for him is Chepauk.
Yeah, but then Chepauk was
first two matches were flat. Third and fourth match, you go and see, those were KKR played that third match, I remember 100. Exactly. Did he not score runs on those pitches as well? First half, let's be honest and let's give him credit for that. First half, Shivam Dubey really licked things up. He was standing up to every ball being thrown to him, no matter what the pitch was.
After that, his form kind of went off a cliff.
Yes, his
and that
form
is the
went down, I
concern.
think, from the 30th of the previous month.
Yeah, he didn't score runs in May.
Yeah, after that team
Around
announced.
that date, I think the squad won.
Yeah, after the squad was announced,
yeah.
he got 2 ducks if I'm not wrong.
Yes, but I think
One to
this
yeah.
basically brings me to a question that with the kind of pitches that we are all witnessing, and we can obviously have a discussion on this, do you see the gap between the teams being narrowed down? Because I can certainly, say this thing from one perspective that, and I have been saying it in the previous lives also, that this is a tricky format. Any team can win on their day. So you look at this West Indies and Papua New Guinea match also.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
they
last night.
basically took them to the last
Yeah,
over.
yeah.
So the way
PNG.
things are going, do you really see a lot more surprises being expected in the next few days?
I don't think India is going to be part of those surprises. I'll be honest. I think it's you look at that group. There's only one fixture to look forward to.
Yeah.
You could argue that last year when India visited Ireland, that match, there was a match that went down the wire, and India just needed the best out of its players to be able to rescue from that situation. But that wasn't India's A team. Let's be honest. This is India's A team, which is hungry. This is an A team which is dry as far as an IPL, as far as an ICC tournament title is concerned. There's so much for this Indian team lying on the line. For those reasons, and you look at the other teams as well, you're playing USA, you're playing Canada, Ireland and Pakistan. So there's actually just one match to look forward to. In fact, some of the other matches, some of the other associate nations, I expect players who are not probably in your short scheme of things, or probably not in your first 11 or 12, maybe the other 3 to be getting a chance somewhere, because you don't know if they're required at some point later in the tournament, and then you would have shifted from the US to the Caribbean.
Yeah.
So I don't see India being involved in any of the surprise. I think it is pretty much 4 straight wins for India in those matches. I'm very bullish on India beating Pakistan all over again, making it 7-1. But otherwise, I don't think India really are springing that. So it could be, let's say, Pakistan. I don't quite trust, because they're that maverick team who will probably make a match out of someone like a USA, but beat Australia in the semi-final. They're that kind of a team.
Yeah.
There could be surprises, but I don't think India are to be the team who will really be one.
The way I think things are going, if there's one group where there might be a lot of surprises, and I think it's going to be the group which features New Zealand, West Indies and Afghanistan.
Yeah, I was,
exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. I think that is the one group to keep an eye out on, because otherwise, if you look at every other group, there's 2 clear and obvious favorites to make it out. This one, Afghanistan would fancy their chances if they get a spinning track somewhere, because you saw what they did to England in the World Cup.
Yes.
You saw what they almost did to Australia. Were it not for Glenn Maxwell playing the innings of a lifetime, that match was theirs.
Beat Pakistan also.
Correct.
Sri Lanka.
Correct. So they were in the reckoning right up till that Australia game.
Yes.
That Australia game, if they had to win, they would have gone into the next match knowing fully well that the result could have actually brought them in the semis.
Yeah.
So with the conditions going their way, sure. Do I see India being a part of that? Maybe not. But I do think you're going to see a few associate teams pick up some wins. Because again, it's a lottery kind of a situation. See, T20 anyway, I always say is a bit of a lottery format because it's shorter, right? You just need 1 or 2 people to really step up on a day and upsets can happen. Now throw in a lottery format with lottery conditions and the, let's just say it's ripe for some sort of an upset to happen. Will that involve all of the big teams? Probably not. But I do see a Sri Lanka or a South Africa. South Africa, we've seen it happen. Netherlands beat them twice in 2 World Cups. So, you do see that in some circumstances, some sort of an upset like this can happen. I'm not ruling it out entirely.
Even I also feel that India, I don't think we are going to see India in already. See, like you mentioned, T20 is a format where margins are already very small. Two good balls, 2 bad balls can automatically change the game. India, I don't feel why we are not going to see India being a part of an upset, because India is a sort of a team which also is a problem in this format, is that India plays safe cricket.
Yes.
While you are playing safe cricket, I don't think you can be a part of an upset. But teams like West Indies, South Africa, who come out, who are there to they're just from ball 1, they're going to say go and they're going to come out all guns blazing. They can be part of some upsets, because again we still don't know how are the conditions exactly. Someday you can see West Indies just come out and just start playing the brand of cricket they do, and you can see them crumble, and then some team, Afghanistan, can end up beating them. So I think those are the teams who are going to we are going to see who are being part of an upset. India, I still don't think, because of the same reason, because of the safe brand of cricket India plays, which could also be a problem moving ahead in the tournament. But
so you still don't think India are moving away from the safe template?
It's again to.
There's so much talk about India playing what the need of the hour is. You don't think it's happening?
I still want to see more of it.
I am not judging anything based on a warm-up game against Bangladesh.
No, I'm not saying that we played
Bangladesh.
that way in the warm-up game for that matter.
No, so in IPL, whom are you talking about exactly? You can.
No, not IPL. I'm just saying in general, this team's philosophy. There's so much talk about playing according to the need of the hour. The template has changed.
There are players who in the IPL also came out and said that we are playing at this strike rate because of the impact player rule. So you're going to see that change also in the World Cup, because that's not going to be there. Virat Kohli came out and said I'm able to play at this strike rate because of the impact player rule. So here you never know what's going to happen.
And see, it also depends. Listen, old habits always die hard.
Yeah.
It's easy to say, it's easy to talk the talk, but I remember hearing exactly the same talk in 2022.
Yeah.
Then when the big moment came, you froze. Yet again, you played percentage cricket, and England showed you what happens if you play percentage cricket on a big game day. So I'll believe it. As I say, I'll believe it when I see it. Again, I think them trying to kind of pack their batting by including a Dubey wise move will weaken their bowling. But I think I'm okay.
I really would have, had this been the other way around, where India's tournament had started in the Caribbean and then moved to New York, where you had this, wayward sort of a pitch, and then you played the big sharks, because then you could be pitted against, looking at the seedings, Sri Lanka, New Zealand,
Australia.
Australia. Then I'd be sort of, I would have been a little more skeptical. Right now, given the competition that India face in Australia, in the USA, in New York, I don't quite have a lot of doubts over there. Yeah. But had it been the other way around, I would have had my doubts.
Yeah, because again, West Indies pitches, they kind of go on the sluggish side, and you need one spinner on the day to fire. Yeah. One spinner is all you need.
And you need one batsman to play those 40 to 45 odd deliveries and then build the innings, and everyone else plays around them, and we clearly have.
See, there is nothing called the unknown over there. There you pretty much know, and you visited the Caribbean last year itself. Yes. So you have a first-hand experience for that matter. Here, it's a new experience for everyone. So rather than stepping into the unknown and being the only one for that matter, knowing very well that you're trying to undergo a change of template and whatnot, what if you put into bat first by an Australia? If it were to be that way, had your you just think of it in a way that had the warm-up match happened somewhere in the Caribbean, you'd played the first leg over there, then you go over there, Super 8's happening in New York, Australia asks you to bat first. You don't know what a good score is because there's spongy bounce and this and that. Then again,
good God, if you get spongy bounce and a little bit of movement, you're again putting 150, 160 on the board.
And then Australia is a team who would be playing the situation. I'm pretty sure they would be playing to the situation, and they have done that again and again and again. As far as India is concerned, I don't know if you have to go out and chase about a 200 in the semi-final or against in a knockout game, that's going to be
playing to situation is one, but India, while it has been made to look that they play the situation, it's been an act of survival.
Yeah.
But with the wickets that we have witnessed so far, I think India's safe strategy might just win it for them.
Exactly. Yeah, I was going to get to this. I actually do agree with this fact, but again, the only problem with that is that you don't know what a big Australia can do on a big day. You don't know what a New Zealand England can do, because for them, if they have decided to come out all guns blazing, and however the wicket, however the condition is, they are going to play by that. Yes. And even if one batter fires on that day, an 80-85 run knock of just 35-40 balls, and you have a total of 150, then that's going to get again neck to neck, and in a pressure situation, you know that you will be under tremendous pressure.
And also the problem is, it depends on what circumstance you get what pitch. Again, you didn't get a very good belter of attack in 2022 until the semi. And a little bit of early swing ended up doing you in. No?
There was good bounce also.
Early swing, bounce, and you played percentage cricket.
And that I think the wicket also eased.
It always eases. It happened in 2023 also.
That though.
It always eases. Somehow. Don't ask how, it just happens. So again, there also you're right.
IPL final, did it ease?
IPL
was good
final.
bowling by KKR.
IPL final, they are 113 runs. Even if the pitch didn't ease, you would have got it.
Yeah.
Again, I think in fact there's a good parallel there because again, I have 160 odd or 170. How much did they chase England? That they had to chase?
156 or something.
No.
No, 160 something.
160.
166.
Yeah.
166.
So
The India match you're talking about.
Yeah.
66, 68, yeah, that's, yeah.
So there also they went after the Indian bowling, which was already under the pump. And once that initial onslaught was there, they lost it. It was the same against KKR. I don't think the KKR batters worried even a little bit once Sunil got out. Because they're like, Acha, he's going to go and play 2 sixes anyway. That's fine. If he gets out, we have other batters.
Yeah.
Then Venkatesh Iyer pretty much just killed the game off with that one Bhuvneshwar Kumar over.
Yeah.
20 odd runs. You didn't have enough runs to play with. Same with India against England in 2022. You didn't have enough runs to play with. And you didn't have wicket-taking bowlers. So, once they got stuck in big, and then boom, boom, boom. It was
It's interesting, in fact, and of course, maybe this can be something that we talk about in greater length. I was looking at this one podcast, not known faces, I believe, but nonetheless, a view is a view. Just hearing this gentleman speak about Indian bowling and how not the batting but the bowling was actually responsible for what had happened. Because 2021, you had India get beaten by Pakistan by 10 wickets.
Yeah.
Then the fact that yes, there was still about 160 runs to play with, the bowlers weren't attacking enough. The bowlers were defensive in their lines. The bowlers had already sort of submitted to the fact that there weren't enough runs on the board and weren't going for those hard lengths. Made for
No, but I wouldn't
view.
blame the bowling in that. I think that was the general mindset in the 2021 and 2022 World Cup. That was, you were defensive as a whole. Be it batting, be it bowling, be it your strategies. It was a whole thing. Like we talk about the English mindset when we talk about baseball, it's a whole mindset. So I think the defensiveness that India showed in that World Cup was a thing that was being carried forward since a very long time.
I mean, this is the same World Cup we're talking about same two World Cup cycle where KL Rahul was playing on maiden overs in the power play.
Exactly.
That tells you everything you need to know about what kind of mindset you were playing with. But I do agree, the bowling definitely was lacking because I remember, I think the first over was being bowled by Bhuvneshwar.
Yes.
And Butler hit him for 1-6. And what's the next thing that happens? Rishabh Pant comes up to the stumps. And I'm like, are you kidding me? You're already going defensive. You're employing a tactic to ensure that the opener doesn't charge down.
Yeah.
Rather than trying to tempt him to charge down and maybe throw his wicket away. You're going defensive already. Already at that point, you knew we had an under par total.
Yeah.
And Hales and Butler then got stuck in. It didn't matter after that.
But with the oppositions that India will take on in the next few matches, or assuming they reach the
Group
Super
stages
8,
will be a breeze.
yeah,
Let's
should
be
okay.
frank.
And even the Super 8 stage also, when things get a little tougher, do you see this, the conditions which we are witnessing as of now in the Caribbean and USA favoring India, or they're probably going against India?
Could go both ways because again, you can either have, I'll cite two matches in recent memory. Either India versus Sri Lanka in the Asia Cup final, or India versus Sri Lanka in the Super 6. Where one spinner was enough to take the game away from you. Some unknown spinner, and it's always the unknown
And
spinner.
he batted well too in that game.
Yeah, he's a decent bat.
But are India playing unknown spinners this time?
You might be. What if you're some spinner of the USA or Canada undoes you?
You're going that far.
I'm going that far.
It's a crazy format.
It's a crazy format. I'll never rule out any kind of upset. That being said, no. I think those kind of matches India won't have a problem. But I think, who are the spinners who could trouble you? Gudakesh Moti. He's the kind of spinner who could really trouble you. And Akhil Hossain. Akhil, remember, was very good against India in that 5-match series last year.
Adam Zampa.
Zampa,
East
another one.
OD always.
What about Keshav Maharaj? He's also a smart customer.
Keshav, Tabriz Shamsi tends to do well against India more often. Remember that shoe celebration of his that got him in trouble with certain sections of the Indian fan base.
Yeah.
So there is that, always that, let's say, chance that something like this can happen. But again, lottery. So our time, shall we?
Yeah, absolutely. Suryansh Sharma is coming up with a comment that, okay, why don't you skip the dugout on India and cover at least 8 p.m. T20 World Cup matches? Well, Suryansh, we are going to do that. There's going to be a preview, mid and post of the South Africa-Sri Lanka match.
What did you think? We wouldn't be doing
We
it.
know what you want, buddy. We know that. We planned our day accordingly. So pre, mid, post, everything for tonight's match, which is South Africa versus Sri Lanka. For all of those, Suryansh included. Here's the official announcement where we have you covered this World Cup. Don't worry.
We'll be there. Don't worry. Let's see.
Look at the few more comments.
It's okay.
Vansh Jan.
He's replying to someone. I don't really know.
Yeah,
what
Daniel
the
saying that Namibia versus Oman was a thriller. Of course, match going down to a
12,
super over.
after 12 years, you're getting, I think, a super over in the World Cup. GGK says that these are perfect conditions for us. You're sprint friendly, 170-90 type pitch. We are winning this World Cup. Hardik, man of the final, and Kuldeep, man of series. Sanju will make highest impact. Just keep Dubey out. Sanju is probably not even playing at this point. Poor guy. Yeah. Vansh Jain says, glad it's not like IPL. This is a sport, it's not Netflix. No, I agree, Vansh. I think we all agreed after a point that in the IPL you went to the other end of the extreme. 260 being made and chased down, 280 almost being chased down.
170 being chased in 10 overs.
It was mad. It was a little too bad in that sense. Sanachandra says, welcome back Shashwat and good luck with everything. He says that Guyana is the Ekana of West Indies. It's an 85-meter boundary and early predictions that all these 200 plus strike rate players are mostly not going to fire. It's going to be Kohli, Babar types who fire. West Indies may not reach super. Actually, that's an interesting thing. I do think you're going to see percentage cricketers flourish at least in the early stages of the World Cup.
But you don't know if that's going to work as a whole or not, because again what I said, because T20 someday somebody comes and decides to fire, that person would not be thinking about the conditions and that is going to go against.
Exactly, that I agree with. Mayank Pradhan says if India anyhow win this World Cup, then Shivam Dubey will be the difference. There are a lot of people who have
prediction.
And there are a lot of people who have very high hopes for Shivam Dubey.
Yes.
See, because it becomes difficult to keep a Shivam Dubey out. Firstly, there's been a huge indicator, the fact that he bowled as many overs as a Hardik Pandya the other day.
Yes.
That's point number one. Point number two, if you're looking at having any sort of a takeaway or learning from the IPL, then in spin friendly conditions, how is it that you don't have somebody who's garnered the moniker of a murderer of spin?
Exactly.
You have to be then playing that man.
Yeah. Priyanshu, I think, has a comment that Guyana and Barbados both seem 150-160 types. Okay, players like Pooran against PNG made 27 run a ball.
Yeah.
Virat needs to bat at number 3 and stabilize. He would unnecessarily slog in opening and give away his wicket.
Knowing someone like a Kohli, he will adjust according to the situation. So even if he's opening, it won't really matter. He may very well just end up saying that, listen, I'll play a little attritional. So that's fine.
But then, isn't that actually, it makes for a good point, because if that's the thing, then you have Yashasvi, let Yashasvi be that X factor. Absolutely. In such conditions, Yashasvi becomes your X factor then.
I am anti-dropping Yashasvi anyway, but we know it's happening.
Yeah.
And I'm only keeping Yashasvi out because that's how India will be able to accommodate 6 or 7 bowlers. That's the
only way I would have taken Yashasvi Jaiswal out of the 11 was if we would have had a Rinku in the 11. But again, that's not possible. That's a whole different debate. So
Unless someone gets a side strain.
You might just see Shivam Dubey getting that later in the tournament.
Your favorite player, he's not there, na? He gets back spasms and back strains.
But he showed you why I really back him. I just like him because of his captaincy, and he showed that.
I mean, he's won a IPL. Huh?
He's taken one team to the final which had no chance before that.
Right, making it to that final.
No, yeah, you had a good team that
But that year you had a good team.
Yeah.
But no, that team was made by him 2 years after 2
That's
years.
true, actually.
Not Ricky Ponting.
Well, if it was Ricky Ponting, he would have made another good team. No?
Anurag, I think, has a comment that India needs to be ruthless against minnows and even versus top teams to send fears among opposition.
Good point. You need to be ruthless, but again, God forbid you end up getting a sluggish pitch, then it's always a matter of win first and save net run rate for later. Net run rate then doesn't matter. Sachin Kashyap says that individual brilliance is what knocks us out in big games. Travis Head, Josh Butler, Alex Hales, Babar Azam Rizwan, Trent Bolt, Steve Smith, Lendl Simmons, Malinga. Sachin, that's a lot of individuals you've just named. After one point, you have to say, they are not the problem, maybe we are.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say on that. Yeah. Anyhow, I think we can take a bit of a break, shall we?
Yeah, we shall. It is...
We'll be rejoining. Oh wait, we have Satish Bay says that he's got a gut feeling that Australia or England will lift the cup. An easy call, I would say. I think they're two of the stronger teams there. I don't know, I have a weird feeling West Indies are going to surprise a lot of people this time around.
Definitely.
They do seem to have individuals. Speaking of individual brilliance, they have a lot of those individuals, Mavericks at
No,
that.
I wouldn't be surprised if Akeem Hussain is the highest wicket taker by the end of the
Oh,
day.
that wouldn't surprise him.
Definitely not.
Him
He's
or
been
a-
in really good form of late.
You know,
And a
his
motive.
ball which
Yeah,
swings
yeah,
into the
yeah,
right
yeah.
handers is deadly actually.
He has that X factor.
That arm ball only was what was troubling India during that West Indies series last year.
Yeah,
He was
yeah,
doing nothing. He's bowling it straight, and the Indians were at 6 and 7s. So yeah.
Yeah. Anyhow, that was the latest edition of the Dugout. Thank you so much for joining us. In case you're joining us right now, as you see in the caption as well, we tried dissecting what tricky pitch that we've seen in New York could mean for the Indian team. Does it disrupt the Indian team's rhythm? Does it harm their chances? You can listen into our views by going back all over again and just seeing this whole video. We've tried summing things up, but we will be back rather shortly because you're going to see our coverage of the South Africa versus Sri Lanka match happen here at Sports Today as well. We'll be building up to that match. The toss we'll bring to you, then followed by the mid innings, and we'll be here for the post match as well.
Absolutely.
So until then, thank you, tada, bye bye. We'll see you very soon.